What's up, gearheads? The 2000s gave us some of Japan's most daring machines, cars so wild they got outlawed, restricted, or quietly buried by their own makers. From the legendary Skyline R34 GTR to forbidden V12 luxury sedans and RX rotaries that broke every rule, these rides weren't just fast, they were dangerous to the status quo. Stick around, because the final car on this list is one you'll never forget. Let's get into it. Number 12, Nissan Skyline GTR R34, 1999 to 2002. A car so fast, so advanced, that entire governments decided ordinary drivers shouldn't get their hands on it. That's not myth, it's the reality of Japan's most notorious outlaw from the early 2000s. The Nissan Skyline GTR R34. By 1999, Nissan had created a monster dressed in a four-seat coupe skin. Beneath the steel sat the legendary RB26DE-TT, a 2.6-liter twin-turbo inline-six, officially rated at 276 horsepower, but in truth closer to 320. Pair that with 289 pound-feet of torque, and you had a car capable of sprinting from 0 to 60 in just 4.9 seconds. Its ATTE-SAE-TS all-wheel drive system and Super High-Kiss four-wheel steering gave it handling precision that felt like cheating. This wasn't just another Japanese sports car, it was a computer on wheels, a weapon engineered to embarrass Ferraris on mountain passes and racetracks alike. But perfection has its shadows. The R34 was too ahead of its time for regulators. In the US, the 25-year rule meant it couldn't be legally imported until 2024. Many early attempts were seized at docks, crushed, or hidden away in warehouses. Emission standards and safety regulations didn't help either. Owning one became less about driving, more about dodging authorities. And that scarcity only built the legend higher. Street racers, video games like Gran Turismo, and Hollywood gave the R34 a halo few cars could match. Yet enthusiasts who finally drove one often admitted, yes, it was brilliant, but also heavy, stiff, and demanding in daily traffic. For all its glory, it was never a gentle companion. Still, when you see that squared-off silhouette and four glowing taillights, you understand why the R34 remains the forbidden fruit of Japanese performance. And remember, this is just the start of our banned list. The next car proves you don't need turbos to become a target. Number 11, Toyota Century V12 2000s. It looked like something your grandfather's accountant might drive. A long, squared sedan, painted in muted colors, with chrome that whispered instead of shouted. But beneath that understated skin sat one of the most secretive engines Japan had ever built. A motor so exclusive, it was never shared with any other car. The Toyota Century V12. This wasn't a sports coupe or street racer. It was Japan's answer to the Rolls-Royce, reserved for prime ministers, business tycoons, and royalty. Yet Toyota did something extraordinary. They built a 5.0-liter 1G ZFE V12, hand-assembled, producing around 276 horsepower and 355 pound-feet of torque. On paper, it seemed restrained, almost disappointing. But anyone who's been near one knows those numbers were deliberately sandbagged. Quiet, seamless, and endlessly smooth, the V12 could surge this massive limousine from 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds, while passengers barely felt a vibration. So why was it banned outside Japan? Regulations. Meeting foreign crash standards and emissions laws with such a limited production, hand-built machine was never realistic. Combine that with left-hand drive markets, and the Century became effectively forbidden fruit. Import laws made ownership in places like the US nearly impossible until very recently. And while it sounds like a dream, 12 cylinders, velvet ride, unparalleled craftsmanship, it wasn't without flaws. It weighed nearly 2 tons. The steering was heavy, the acceleration deceptive rather than thrilling, and its true purpose was dignity, not drama. Daily drivers would find it impractical, if not excessive. But make no mistake, this was the only Japanese car ever fitted with a V12. That fact alone secures its myth. A sedan built for silence and ceremony, banned by bureaucracy, now whispered about as one of Toyota's boldest experiments. And if you thought a chauffeured limo couldn't shake regulators, wait until you see the next machine. A car that looked wild straight from the factory floor. Number 10, Mazda RX-8 Type S, 2003 to 2008. It promised everything a sports car should. Low weight, near perfect balance, rear-wheel drive, and doors that looked like they belonged in a concept sketch. At first glance, it was futuristic, sleek, even practical. But the real trick was hidden under that sculpted hood, the rotary engine reborn for a new generation. This was the Mazda RX-8 Type S. Mazda gave it the 1.3-liter Renesis rotary, officially rated at 238 horsepower and 159 pound-feet of torque in the high-revving manual version. On paper, that might not sound like much, but paired with a featherweight chassis and a screaming 9,000 RPM redline, the RX-8 felt alive in a way few rivals could match. 0 to 60 came in about 6.4 seconds, and thanks to its perfect 50-50 weight distribution, corners weren't just handled, they were danced through. But what made it thrilling also made it fragile. The rotary was temperamental, demanding constant attention. Owners learned to live with oil consumption, hard-to-read compression issues, and notorious flooding problems. Many engines failed long before 100,000 miles, leaving the RX-8 with a reputation as both brilliant and cursed. And then came the ban hammer. Stricter emission standards in key markets forced Mazda to pull the RX-8 off shelves by 2010, even though enthusiasts begged for its survival. The Renesis simply couldn't keep up with the tightening rules. A car built to carry Mazda's rotary legacy was suddenly treated like a blacklisted outlaw. Still, the RX-8 remains unforgettable. Suicide doors gave it flair, the rotary gave it character, and its flaws made it infamous. A car too bold for its own era, and one that automakers might prefer you forget. But if you think that's extreme, wait until you see the luxury sedan on this list that could embarrass sports cars while keeping a chauffeur at the wheel. Number 9, Toyota Aristo V300 Vertex Edition, 2000 to 2005. From the outside, it looked like another executive sedan. Polished, understated, built to carry businessmen in comfort. But slip behind the wheel, and suddenly it revealed a secret, one that tied it directly to one of Japan's most legendary sports cars. This was the Toyota Aristo V 300 Vertex Edition. Underneath the unassuming four-door shell lay the 2JZ GTE twin-turbo inline-six, the very same heart that powered the MK4 Supra. Toyota tuned it to 276 horsepower and 333 pound-feet of torque to satisfy Japan's gentleman's agreement on power limits. But the reality was far more sinister. With simple modifications, owners regularly unlocked 400, 500, even 700 horsepower, all while sitting in leather seats with climate control humming softly. Performance was shocking for what looked like a conservative sedan. 0 to 60 came in around 6 seconds stock, but the surge of mid-range torque made it feel faster. High-speed stability was incredible, thanks to rear-wheel drive and a chassis that was quietly engineered to handle much more than the spec sheet suggested. But like many Japanese legends, the Aristo's life outside Japan was complicated. In the US, it came rebadged as the Lexus GS, but never with the twin-turbo 2JZ. That made the true V300 Vertex Edition forbidden fruit, banned by import laws until the 25-year rule set it free. Automakers didn't exactly advertise it either. After all, it was a Supra in a business suit, and that would have stolen the spotlight. Its flaw: weight. Nearly 3,800 pounds meant it wasn't as razor-sharp as a pure sports car. Fuel economy was laughable too. But those who knew, they didn't care. Because few things feel better than annihilating sports cars on the highway while dressed like a banker. And if you think Toyota was bold here, the next car took Japan's sleek coupe tradition and turned it into something regulators wished had never left the factory floor. Number 8, Nissan Silvia S15, 1999 to 2002. At first glance, it was just another compact coupe. Low, clean, sharp, but not extravagant. Yet for an entire generation of enthusiasts, this was the car that defined Japanese street culture at the turn of the millennium. The Nissan Silvia S15. Powered by the SR20D ET turbocharged inline-4, it packed 250 horsepower and 203 pound-feet of torque in Spec R trim, paired with a 6-speed manual and limited slip differential. It wasn't the raw numbers that made it legendary, it was the way it delivered them. Light, balanced, and razor-sharp, the S15 could sprint from 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds, but more importantly, it felt alive in the corners. Whether carving through 2G roads or lighting up tires in drift competitions, the S15 was a driver's car in every sense. But the very things that made it magical also made it a target. In markets like the US, regulators banned it outright. Safety standards, emissions rules, and Nissan's choice to keep the S15 strictly for Japan meant enthusiasts were locked out, until the 25-year import rules slowly opened the gates. For years, that scarcity only built the myth stronger, making the Silvia one of the most hunted JDM imports on the planet. Of course, it wasn't perfect. The SR20D ET was tunable, but fragile under neglect. And the lightweight build meant it lacked the refinement of pricier sports cars. Still, its flaws became part of its charm. Affordable, stylish, endlessly modifiable, the S15 became the canvas for drift kings and street racers alike. Today, its status is untouchable. Banned in its prime, worshipped in games and films, and now finally trickling into global garages, the Silvia S15 stands as proof that sometimes the most dangerous cars are the ones that look the most inviting. And if you're enjoying this trip through Japan's forbidden machines, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and tell us in the comments which banned JDM car would you smuggle into your dream garage. Number 7, Mazda RX-7 Spirit R 2002. By the early 2000s, one legend was already on its way out. Regulations were tightening, emissions rules were suffocating, and yet Mazda refused to let their rotary hero fade without one last masterpiece. The result was the RX-7 Spirit R, a farewell so sharp it felt more like a declaration than a goodbye. Beneath the sleek FD3S body sat the twin-turbocharged 13 BREW rotary, rated at 276 horsepower and 231 pound-feet of torque, paired with a close ratio 5-speed manual in the Type A model. Numbers alone didn't tell the story. What mattered was the way it delivered them. Lightning-fast throttle response, a 0 to 60 sprint in about 5 seconds, and a chassis that seemed telepathic in the way it carved corners. This wasn't just a car, it was a scalpel built for speed. Mazda produced only around 1,500 units of the Spirit R, making it as rare as it was revered. Each one carried unique touches: Recaro bucket seats, BBS forged wheels, and lightweight components that trimmed every ounce possible. It was the purest expression of everything the RX-7 stood for: balance, agility, and that intoxicating rotary howl. But perfection came at a cost. The 13B was notoriously demanding, with apex seal wear, oil consumption, and turbo fragility haunting owners who didn't respect its quirks. Combine that with rising emission standards, and the RX-7 was banned in most markets, its legacy sealed as a forbidden icon. The Spirit R was both a celebration and an epitaph, the final breath of Mazda's most beloved rotary, a machine banned by regulators but immortalized by enthusiasts. For many, it remains the greatest JDM car of all time, a legend that left too soon, but never quietly. Number 6, Toyota Chaser JZX 100, 1996 to 2001. It looked like something a mid-level manager would drive to the office. Boxy, calm, nothing to raise an eyebrow. But under that polished sedan exterior was a secret that made it a cult weapon on Japan's streets: the Toyota Chaser JZX 100. At its core was the legendary JZGTE, a 2.5-liter twin-turbo straight-six, officially rated at 276 horsepower and 268 pound-feet of torque. In reality, Toyota's gentleman's agreement kept those numbers conservative. Tuners quickly discovered the engine could handle far more. With a proper manual transmission and rear-wheel drive, the Chaser wasn't just fast, it was built for controlled chaos. Drifters, in particular, turned it into a sideways superstar, its long wheelbase and torquey power delivery, making it one of the best platforms for shredding tires. Stock, it could sprint from 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds. But numbers weren't the story here. It was about the double life. By day, a refined sedan with a spacious interior, climate control, and Toyota reliability. By night, a machine capable of embarrassing sports cars that cost twice as much. Few cars played both roles this convincingly. Yet, like so many on this list, it was effectively banned from major export markets. Emission standards, safety regulations, and its limited right-hand drive production locked it away from enthusiasts abroad. Instead, whispers of its reputation spread through magazines, video games, and drift videos smuggled across the internet. Weight and size meant it lacked the razor edge of smaller coupes. And the styling, while handsome, never stood out in traffic. But that was exactly the point. Nobody suspected it until it was too late. So here's the question. If you had the choice, would you rather daily drive your performance car or keep it as a weekend toy? Number 5. Nissan Stagea 260RS Autotech version, 2000 to 2001. On the surface, it was a family wagon built to haul groceries, kids, and luggage. Nothing about its long roofline or upright stance screamed performance. But under the skin, this machine shared DNA with one of Japan's most feared legends. Meet the Nissan Stagea 260RS Autotech version. Built by Nissan's in-house tuner Autotech, the 260RS took the humble Stagea wagon and stuffed it with the beating heart of the R33 Skyline GTR. That meant the RB26DETT twin-turbo inline-six, officially capped at 276 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque. But anyone who's ever touched an RB knows the truth. These engines could handle far more, with 500-plus horsepower builds being almost commonplace. Suddenly, the slow-looking wagon was a rocket. Performance figures told the story: 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds, all-wheel drive grip courtesy of Nissan's Integra system, and super high-KISS four-wheel steering. What was meant to be a practical hauler became a stealth supercar killer, capable of outrunning sports cars while carrying a full load of passengers. Only about 1,700 units were ever made, making it one of the rarest creations in Nissan's history. And like so many JDM treasures, it was never officially sold outside Japan. Regulations on emissions and crash safety kept it locked away, forcing enthusiasts overseas to wait decades for a chance at import. Of course, it wasn't perfect. The Stagea was heavy, tipping the scales at nearly 3,800 pounds. Fuel economy was terrible, and repairs could be costly thanks to its limited production and complex GTR hardware. But flaws didn't matter much, because what other wagon could do this? The 260RS wasn't just a sleeper. It was proof that Nissan could turn the most ordinary platform into something extraordinary. A family car on the outside, a forbidden GTR on the inside. Number 4, Honda S2000 Type S, 2008 to 2009, Japan only. By the late 2000s, the world was shifting away from high-revving sports cars. Emissions rules were closing in, buyers were chasing comfort, and lightweight roadsters seemed like relics. But Honda wasn't ready to let its icon fade quietly. Instead, they released a version so sharp, so track-focused, it became forbidden fruit almost instantly: the Honda S2000 Type S. At its heart was the same 2.2-liter F22C1 inline-4, officially making 237 horsepower at a screaming 8,000 RPM and 162 pound-feet of torque. But the Type S wasn't about adding brute force, it was about perfecting balance. Honda revised the suspension, tightened the steering ratio, bolted on a quicker shifting 6-speed gearbox, and fitted an aggressive aero package with a larger front lip and fixed rear wing. The result? A car that could carve through corners like it was reading your thoughts. 0 to 60 came in around 6 seconds, but raw numbers never told the S2000 story. The experience was everything. The open-top howl, the precision of each gear change, the way it begged you to keep pushing higher into the rev range. It wasn't just fast, it was alive. And yet the Type S was Japan only, never exported abroad. Regulators, limited demand, and Honda's own cautious marketing kept it locked away. For enthusiasts in the US or Europe, the closest they ever got was through glossy magazine pages or pixel-perfect recreations in racing games. But exclusivity came at a price. The stiffened suspension made daily driving punishing, the rev-happy engine demanded discipline, and its practicality was nearly non-existent. It wasn't built for comfort, it was built for purists. A car banned by geography, but immortalized by reputation. Number 3, Toyota Crown Athlete 5 2000s. At first glance, it was pure executive class. A big sedan with understated styling, plush leather seats, and an aura that said boardroom, not backroad. But Toyota had other ideas, and in the early 2000s, they slipped something dangerous under the hood. This was the Toyota Crown Athlete 5. Beneath its refined shell sat the same one JZG-TE 2.5-liter twin-turbo inline-6 found in Toyota's performance icons. Officially rated at 276 horsepower and 268 pound-feet of torque, it had more than enough muscle to push the Crown from 0 to 60 in around 6.5 seconds. Not lightning quick by sports car standards, but devastating when delivered by something that looked this calm. Imagine pulling alongside what seemed like a chauffeur's car, only to watch it surge past like a tuned coupe. But straight-line speed was only part of the story. The Athlete 5 featured rear-wheel drive, optional manual transmission, and a chassis capable of far more than most luxury sedans dared to offer at the time. It gave drivers both comfort and chaos, an intoxicating combination. So why was it banned outside Japan? Like many on this list, emissions and safety regulations kept it locked away, with Toyota never officially exporting it. In markets like the US, you could get a Lexus GS, but not with the same one JZG-TE firepower hiding under the hood. That secrecy only fueled its legend. Of course, it had its downsides. It was heavy with handling that leaned more towards stability than agility. Fuel consumption was high, and maintenance wasn't cheap. But those who owned one didn't care. The Crown Athlete R34 wasn't about being perfect. It was about having power where nobody expected it. A luxury sedan built for executives, yet secretly tuned for speed demons, the Athlete 5 is proof that Toyota's most dangerous creations often wore their quietest suits. Number 2, Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution, 2000s carryover models. When you think of Mitsubishi's rally icons, you probably picture the Lancer Evolution tearing up tarmac stages. But in the late 90s and early 2000s, there was another beast in the family tree, one built not for city streets, but for the brutal Dakar rally. This was the Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution. Born in 1997 to meet homologation rules, the Pajero Evo carried into the early 2000s as one of the strangest yet most capable SUVs ever made. Under its wide box-flared body sat a 3.5-liter DOHC V6 with MIVEC variable valve timing, officially putting out around 276 horsepower and 257 pound-feet of torque. With a 0 to 60 time of roughly 7.5 seconds, it wasn't supercar fast, but for a boxy SUV of its era, it was astonishing. And with a rally-bred suspension, skid plates, and a sophisticated four-wheel drive system, it could take punishment most cars wouldn't survive. On the streets, it looked like nothing else. Oversized fender flares, aggressive bumpers, and a stance that screamed purpose. To the untrained eye, it might have seemed like just another SUV, But enthusiasts knew it was a Dakar-winning monster in disguise. Mitsubishi even won multiple Dakar titles with it, cementing its place in motorsport history. Of course, the Pajero evolution wasn't perfect. Its wide body made it impractical in tight city streets, fuel economy was poor, and maintenance costs could be daunting. It was also a rare, expensive machine, meaning only a handful of lucky drivers got to experience its true capabilities. Still, the Pajero Evo remains a forbidden gem from the 2000s, an SUV that blurred the line between family hauler and desert racer. Banned in many countries simply because it was too niche and too wild for mainstream markets. Number 1. Honda Integra Type R DC5, 2001 to 2006. Closing out the list is a car that many enthusiasts still whisper about, the Honda Integra Type R DC5. Launched in 2001, this Japan-only performance coupe was everything Honda stood for in the early 2000s. Precision engineering, lightweight design, and a driving experience built around pure connection. At its heart was the legendary 2.0-liter K20A engine, revving to 8,400 revolutions per minute and producing around 220 horsepower. On paper, those numbers might not seem earth-shattering, but the magic was in how it delivered them. The DC5 Type R could hit 0 to 60 in about 6.3 seconds, but more importantly, it offered razor-sharp handling thanks to a stiffened chassis, track-tuned suspension, and a close-ratio 6-speed manual gearbox. It wasn't just a car, you wore it like an extension of yourself. The DC5 stood out visually too. Its sleek coupe silhouette, aggressive front fascia, and signature red Recaro seats gave it the presence of a true driver's machine without needing flashy gimmicks. It was subtle enough to fly under the radar, but anyone who knew cars could spot its racing DNA instantly. Of course, no legend is without flaws. The ride was brutally firm, making daily commutes less forgiving. Insurance premiums were high, parts weren't easy to source outside Japan, and the Integra Type R was often dismissed as just another Civic by those who didn't know better. But to enthusiasts, it was and still is one of the purest front-wheel drive performance cars ever built. Today, the DC5 remains a forbidden fruit in many markets, banned in the 2000s for safety and import reasons. Yet it continues to symbolize the golden era of Honda performance, when revs, not turbos, defined speed, and when cars like this made every back road feel like a racetrack. The Honda Integra Type R DC5 didn't just end an era, it cemented Honda's reputation as the master of high-revving perfection. So, which one of these forbidden beasts would you sneak onto the streets if you had the chance? Drop your pick in the comments. I want to see which car wins the underground vote. And if this list of banned Japanese legends got your gears turning, hit that like button and subscribe. Because next time, we're uncovering the sleepers so fast, they nearly rewrote the rulebook, and chances are, you've never even heard their names. Stay tuned.